Most teams think they've got the stand-up nailed. 15 minutes and everyone goes around and says what they did yesterday, what they're doing today, and where they blocked. Tick the box, scrum, done. But here's the harsh truth. Most stand-ups are a waste of time, and the worst part is that they happen every day, sucking up energy while adding almost no value. In this video, I'm going to break down why most teams are doing the stand-up wrong and what it means to actually achieve. And we'll look at the biggest anti-patterns I see, and controversial take, you might not even need to run them every day. Stick around because I'm going to give you a free checklist you can use to audit your own stand-up and make them work again. Let's start with what I see when I join most stand-ups. The team stands in a circle, or they're on Zoom, and one by one they give updates. But who are they talking to? The Scrum Master or the product owner? Not each other. It becomes a mini status report, 15 minutes off. Yesterday I did this, today I'll do this, without anyone actually listening. The sprint goal, nowhere to be found. Blockers, glossed over. Actionable decisions, none. People are disengaged, half on mute, maybe multitasking, and the Scrum Master is standing there like a traffic cop, nodding and moving things along. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is probably the biggest and most common Scrum anti-pattern in the world today. Why does it happen? Because most people forget what the daily Scrum is actually for. It was never meant to be a roll call of activity. It was meant to be a checkpoint, a quick, sharp moment where the team adjusts its plan for the day. So let's rewind to the basics. The stand-up is about replanning, not reporting. The team comes together to answer one question. Are we on track to meet our sprint goal? And if not, what needs to change today? That's it. Nothing about reporting to a boss, nothing about filling airtime, just where we are, what's changing, and what do we do next? When you frame it this way, it starts being about yesterday I did this and becomes about here's what matters for today. Suddenly blockers are not an afterthought, they're the focus. The sprint goal becomes the anchor, not the Jira tickets. Think of it as a pit stop in Formula One. The team pulls in, they adjust, they fuel up, and they get back on track. Nobody in Formula One pulls into the pit lane just to tell their boss they've been driving around in circles for the last 20 laps. It's about staying race ready. So let's break down the 5 most damaging mistakes I see teams making in their stand-ups. Mistake number 1, treating it like a status meeting. If you're reporting upwards, you're doing it wrong. The stand-up is for the team, not for the Scrum Master or any manager. Mistake 2, talking to Jira and not each other. I've seen stand-ups where people literally read tickets off the board with no context. That is not collaboration. Mistake number 3, no link to the sprint goal. If nobody even remembers what the sprint goal was, the stand-up is directionless. It becomes about tasks and not about outcomes. Mistake number 4, skipping blockers. Or worse, someone says, I've got a blocker, and the Scrum Master says, all right, let's take it offline. That kills the purpose of servicing blockers very quickly. And finally, mistake number 5, the Scrum Master always leading. When the Scrum Master is always the host, always directing traffic, the team stops owning the meeting. It becomes a dependency, not an empowerment. If you're guilty of any of these, don't worry, you're not alone, but you do need to fix it. So what does a good stand-up actually look like? Here's a few shifts you can make right now. Start with the sprint goal. Literally restate it at the start of every stand-up. Our sprint goal is to achieve X by the end of the sprint. This re-anchors everyone into the why. Secondly, change the question. Don't ask, what did you do yesterday? Instead, ask, what are the next best steps we can take today? Or what is getting in the way of flow? These questions spot action and not reporting. Third, rotate the facilitator. Let a different team member facilitate each week. That way, it's not the Scrum Master's meeting, it's the team's meeting. Fourth, make blockers the star of the show. If there's a blocker, deal with it straight away. You might need a deep dive, which happens afterwards, but the stand-up must make it visible and must make it owned. And finally, audit the energy. If people are bored or disengaged, stop and ask, why are we doing this? Do we need to change? Now, for the controversial part, do you even need to do it every day? The Scrum Guide states that the daily Scrum must happen every day at the same time, same place, to reduce complexity. But notice the wording, reduce complexity, not a law, not a commandment. Some teams absolutely benefit from daily stand-ups. If you're new, if you're cross-functional, if you've got a lot of moving parts, then yes, daily touch points can keep things aligned. But if your team is high trust, communicates consistently, and your sprint goal is clear, you might not need it every day. Some teams I've coached have switched it up to 3 times a week. Some do async updates in Slack. I'll only do a stand-up if something urgent arises. And you know what? They didn't collapse. In fact, they delivered better because they weren't stuck in that ritual, adding no value. Remember, Agile isn't about delivering ceremonies to the letter. It's about delivering value and adapting to context. Just following the ritual without the value is a waste of time. Let me share a real example. One team I coached was doing stand-ups every day. People dreaded them. They were flat, repetitive, and nobody learned anything. So we ran an experiment. We switched to 3 stand-ups a week, and in between we did async check-ins. And every single stand-up we did, we started with the sprint goal, and each person answered one question: what's the next best move I can do today, and do I need help? The energy changed instantly. Stand-ups dropped from 15 minutes to 8 minutes. People showed up prepared. Blockers were identified faster because people knew they had to use the time wisely. Delivery didn't slow down due to less stand-ups, it improved. So here's my challenge to you. At your next stand-up, stop and ask, are we actually delivering value here, or are we just ticking a scrum box? If it's the latter, change it. Bring the sprint goal back in. Ask better questions. Rotate facilitators. And yes, challenge the frequency. Do it because it helps and not because the scrum says so. Agile, remember, is about outcomes and not obedience. Now, to help you do this, I've created a free stand-up audit checklist you can download. Check out the link in the description. Use it with your team to reflect, adapt, and redesign your stand-ups so they actually matter. You'll find a link in the description. Stop wasting those 15 minutes a day and stop making every stand-up count. If you're interested in more videos like this, check out this video, which is all about what Scrum Master actually does. All right, thanks for listening. Hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you next time.